Hello there, I thought I'd do a little video on this ancient beast. It's a Polaroid land camera Colorpack 3. I believe this was made in about 1972-73. It's quite an old beast. Just go over a few of the features with it, tell you what you need to use this camera, and a few of the problems that you may get with it, or rather to look out for, if you are considering buying one. So as usual, start with the top plate. There's not a lot going on here. There's a shutter button which is lockable. That's at the lock position. If you turn it counterclockwise 90 degrees, that's in the usable position. Now there's two film speeds with these cameras. There's 75, which is for colour, and 3000, which is for black and white, which is no longer available. Actually, the colour film, I would say it's quite difficult to get hold of now. I've got 4 packs of film, and then after that's gone, this is essentially, I can use it as a bookend, I suppose, or but it's just waste plastic after that. David Attenborough would not be happy. So unless somebody starts making the film again, it's this camera's redundant. On the top of it, if I just flip it on its side, see a little bit better there. There's a viewfinder. Quite an odd looking thing. These were essentially it was just a box with what was required stuck on the outside of it. So it's a little bit weird looking. So we go to the front. There's obviously the lens, which is adjustable. It says in the manual, find a method of measuring distance. I suppose you could use a tape measure, but I've got something a little bit more usable. So it goes out to 50 feet, and its closest focus is 3.5 feet. Now you may notice that there's a black section, then it goes silver, and then it goes black again. That silver section is the flash range, so the flash range is from 4 feet to 8 feet. Also on the front there's a little light meter where you can actually adjust that. 1 stop darker, 2 stops lighter. Now because the film that Fujifilm made is 100 ASA, and the actual film speed that the camera is set to is 75, you have to adjust that very slightly. It's around about half a stop darker, I find works best, just to so you don't get overexposed shots. That's the front. There's a small little gizmo here. It's basically a mirror which reflects the distance scale up into the viewfinder, which is quite useful, especially if you're using flash, because for flash there's bring that a little bit closer. There's the ideal flash range for this is 5 feet. The reason being that there's a small, I don't know if you can actually see that, there's a small red square in the viewfinder which you place over the subject's head, and that works out for the average head at about 5 feet. I don't know how long it took them to work that out, but it does work, trust me. And then on the side there's a timer, which you turn the small arrow in the middle round to the time. This film is temperature sensitive, but the Fujifilm is quite stable, so I just usually put it around to 2 minutes, and there's a release button on the top there. No tripod socket on this particular version. Some of the later cameras did have a tripod socket. This side, on American cameras, I had a pendulum device there which had the range of the lens on it, so you could kind of estimate the distance using that. And then here there's a flash cube socket with a little diffuser gizmo in the front that folds back out the way. Just if you buy one of these, make sure that is on, because sometimes they break off. And on the back you get the cold slide, which I don't use much, Essentially you put that in your pocket to warm. It's 2 sheets of aluminium to warm it up, and then in cold weather you put the undeveloped photograph in there to warm it up, and it develop better. I use this for something completely different. What I've done is I've because the lens is in feet and the way I measure is in meters, I put all the distance scale from the front of the lens and converted it to meters. It's just the way I do things, but anyway, I'll show you why that is in a moment. And then there's the viewfinder. This side there's the little door where the film comes out, and then there's a metal bar locking it, and the hand strap. Now, things to look out for on these cameras, there's a few items. Sometimes the hand strap's missing, which is a useful thing because obviously you don't want to drop it because it's plastic and it will probably shatter because it's very old. Another thing is the little diffuser over the flash there, sometimes they're missing. The main thing you need to look out for is the batteries. There's 2 AA batteries in the actual camera body. I can't show you this because I've got a film in it, but if they corrode or leak, they wreck the shutter mechanism, so the camera is useless. It's just something to look out for. Another thing is the grease in the lens, which is what happened on this camera. Solidifies and basically sticks the lens. So what I had to do was take the front off, clean the old grease out, and then glue it back on. It does work now, but it's just something to look out for, because you can be turning that and you won't know that the lens isn't actually turning itself, just the outer dial's moving. So things that you need to use this camera, let's move that over there a wee bit. Obviously you need film. This is the last of the film I have. I've got 4 packs of this. It's Fujifilm FP100C. They also did a black and white which was rated at 3000 ASA. That's no longer available. They haven't made that for quite a few years, but unless someone starts making this again, this camera's no good. So that's the film you require. Also, if you're shooting indoors, because of the slow ASA of this film, you also need some of these little dudes. They're flash cubes. Now, I've got a couple of packs of these. That you can get them on eBay, but they are extremely old, so they're a little bit hit and miss. I've had a couple that haven't gone off. But the good thing is, because the film speed is so slow, if you have a flash cube that doesn't go off, you can take another picture with it, because the film is actually still in the camera, so you can do like a double exposure, but the first one won't register, so you should be okay. I've also got some Atlas ones that they look like this. They're you get 4 flashes per cube. That's one that's been used. It's out of focus. That's been used, and that's a good one. So also what you need is a method by which you can find the distance from your subject. Now, obviously you could use a tape measure, which is a bit cumbersome and probably need 2 people. So what I use is one of these. It's a little laser pointer made by Bosch. They're quite cheap. If I can turn it on, there you go. And it just gives you the distance. Move that around and it changes the distance. Now obviously this is a laser device, so you do not point this at anyone's face. It says specifically in the instructions not to point it in people's eyes. Obviously if you point it at people and they don't like it, they could potentially get you arrested, so just be careful where and when you use it, and don't point it at people. There you go, there's a little red dot on the back of the camera. Right, so anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'll take a photograph with this little contraption. Hopefully it'll work. I've pre-measured the distance, so hopefully we'll get a decent picture. It's just a picture of my bedroom wall, so put the flash cube on there. You have to get the right kind of flash cube as well, because there's two different types. These just pull on and pull off. The type you want is the one with the 4 prongs. Right, let's see if we can get a picture. This will take about 2 minutes to develop. So here we go. Take a picture. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the flash there, but it did go off correctly. So we do that for 2 minutes. Right, now the first thing you need to do is pull this white tab out. That reveals your film. And this is why you need the strap. You are supposed to hang it from that and then pull it. Here we go. Let's give it a go. It's just a firm, steady pressure. Right, there you go. That's out. Start the timer. And then we'll see what we've got. Hopefully this will turn out right. Now, another thing that you need to watch out for is, obviously don't flap this around like a Polaroid, because the chemistry will ruin it. Now, I've seen people go into there and start ripping this paper apart and pulling it that way. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is get your thumbnail underneath the edge of the photograph and peel it apart. Right, we're 1 minute in and counting. The timer's still going. Now this will be a very boring photograph, because it's just a picture of a blue wall with a plate on it. Hopefully it'll be in focus. I kind of estimated the distance. So we've got another. Oh, we've got 1 more minute to go, which means I can waffle on for longer. Now, this film that I've got is runs out in September 2018, so I think I better start motoring through it. Also, I'm not sure if you can, how easy it is to come by these little flash cubes. Just check on the correct type that you need. I can't remember off the top of my head what the other ones are called. I think they're called super cubes or something like that. Could be wrong, but I've got 5 of these. I've not tried these Votan ones, which are made by Osram. I think Osram were taken over by Metz. And these other ones, which I've had a few duds on, these are Thorn, which became Thorn EMI, and probably they were taken over. Anyway, let's see how we get on with this. Oh, nearly there, nearly there. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. We call that 2 minutes. Let's see what we've got. Oh, there you go. It actually turned out. It's a little bit light actually. Could possibly do with being the right way up for a start. Yeah, that came out alright. It's a little bit light, but it is a flash photograph, and these things were, yeah, they're not as accurate as any kind of SLR or compact camera, but they're just a fun thing to use. Just such a shame that Fujifilm stopped making the film for them. So there you go, that is the Polaroid land camera Colorpack 3, or as I call it, the square black box. Bye.